Anyway, all right, let's get rocking. We got 3 items on the agenda today. Specialized lead sources, jumpstarting your social media, and leveraging one listing to get more listings. Kind of covered some of that listing stuff in the previous call a little bit. Specialized lead source. Let's start there. And Vince may or may not. Vince had he had an inspection. He's licensed in Illinois, and they're required. Agents are required to be at inspections there. I don't know how your areas handle that, but
We're not
here
required, but I always go.
we're not required, and I never go. So I
sometimes go, but usually I don't.
I
don't want to put myself in a position where I'm trying to interpret those inspections, to be totally honest. I just want to provide them unless the buyer really wants to be there also. I just want to show the report. And
see, I have I mean, I guess doing this for a decade, but I review it, and then if I have questions, like if I want a little bit more detail on something specific that I see in there, I'll call the inspector and say, I've always just taken, and this, everybody's, no way is right. Like I know agents like Valerie that go to every single one. I know some that never go to any unless someone requires it. I mean, occasionally we'll run across a seller that says, no, we want one of the agents there. But it is what it is. So anyway, it varies, but I don't think there's one. It's not a right or wrong. There's not one benefit. Mine's always, I don't want, the buyer's already there, and I want the inspector focusing on what he's doing. Certainly doesn't need to be BSing with me. So it's like I serve no purpose there. But
I'm guilty of being too chatty too.
But I can see from what you were saying, especially for newer agents, I think one, it's good to go because you understand what's going on there, like how the inspector's doing their job, and you can get some direct, immediate feedback on some things. So I could see how that would be important as well. If you're first, second, third, maybe even fourth year agent, would totally make sense. Cool. All right, well, let's you guys know any other sidebars? Which I was the sidebar, so probably not. We'll get onto our agenda. Specialized lead sources. What would you consider a specialized lead source, first of all?
No idea.
Like a Veterans United kind of thing?
Yeah, I would say if specialized would be something that would be targeted to a specific potential market. To me, would be a specialized lead source, or either to the target market or requires a specialized skill potentially on behalf of the agent. There are in fact agents that are exceptionally good at short sales, probate, stuff like that. I wouldn't call myself like specialized. I know those things. I've done them, but there are agents that, there was an agent around here for years. Like she's retired now, but she wasn't with our brokerage. But like I swear every foreclosure that came in the market, she had it listed because she developed a relationship with the various banks and their asset managers. So does that better help define specialized lead source, Sarah?
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any currently, or what would you consider that you have as specialized? Sarah's a no.
No, I'm a no. I got nothing.
She's just straight Jim and Jane Smith all day long.
Yeah, pretty much.
Valerie, do you have any specialized ones?
I don't specifically market to a niche market, but okay. I do, like Veterans United came to mind because they're one of my referral sources. I have a contentious relationship with their app, and so I don't get to claim a lot of leads. But I do, when they do come in, then I'm working with those.
And that's like a veteran relocation type thing?
It's not even relocation. It's just it's tied into their lending program. So Veterans United has a lending they're a big lender, and then they get the vets pre-approved, and then they connect them with a Veterans United agent, and so you have to be a part of their program to get the referrals.
Mhm.
And then I think it's 35%, a 35% referral fee. You help them out.
Yeah, Vince is similar. He does Homes for Heroes, which is veterans, but it's also like police, fire, teachers, nurses, doctors, like all those qualify for Homes to Heroes. And again, it's a lender program, but there are agents that sign up to specialize in it.
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying, Sarah?
No, yeah. So that's very different from something that's like a lead gen, like an op city or something like that.
It's actually quite similar. It operates in the exact same way. So a text comes in, you claim the lead, you work the lead, and you pay your referral fee at the end when you close. It's the only difference being that they're all veterans who come, well, mostly veterans. They do have some other like adjacent lending programs that aren't specific to veterans that pull into this program, but 95% of the clients who come through are vets. So, but it operates much in the same way as an op city or Ojo or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's usually when you think of specialized lead sources, and anybody can do it. It's like, you could do a VA loan, but there are some nuances, and if you're more specialized in it, I think you'd be more versed to be able to walk your clients through that process. Here's what's different about your loan from there's different things that occur during the inspections for VA loans. The termite inspections, they're not even required on any other loan besides a VA loan. I forget that because I do so few VAs. I do maybe, there's years I'll do 2 or 3 VAs. Last year, I don't think I did a single one. First VA loan I had this year, I was like, I forgot. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta order the dang termite inspection. So I forgot the pest inspection, whatever it's called. So see, I don't even know what the hell it's called because I'm stupid. Because I don't do it enough. I don't do it enough, right? So I'm not specialized. What about becoming specialized in a lead source that's not just by definition a specialized lead source? Is that possible?
You mean like like targeting? Are you talking about like targeting a specific like population, like single women or like dog owners or
could be. How about totally broad? I mean, if you are a quote
I'm
unquote,
listening, I'm walking away, but I'm listening.
no worries. If you're quote unquote a buyer's agent, are you not specializing in a particular clientele?
Yeah, I feel like I'm not really. I mean, obviously my demographic region is pretty specific, but
right. I'm saying like, well, first of all, like that would never be me. If I was going to specialize on if a buyer or seller, I would totally go the listing side because I don't want to do all that running around.
who wouldn't?
Right. But I know a lot of agents. I think I think it's market dependent. Like I would not also in this market want to be a buyer's agent specifically.
No.
Because that's a whole lot of rejection.
Versus yes, it is.
A whole lot of success, right?
Yes, it is. I have 3 offers out right now in this moment. I don't know if I'll get any of them.
That's hard.
So I am gonna go a little off script of our agenda today. I'm probably gonna go. I'll do it under the leveraging listings to get more listings, but I referenced it on the fast forward. I was on the wrong side of a piss poorly managed listing with multiple offers last week, and my buyers want me to file a complaint. I don't think we have a true by definition complaint, but we're still going to file it just because I want to put this agent on notice that she's a fucking moron, and pardon my excessive French there.
Yeah, I want to hear all about it. give you the blow by blow or whatever you call it. I'm fascinated by how some of these work. And I feel
I
like
would
I've
promise it'll be the first thing we cover when we get to leveraging lead system. I want to finish specialized. We might skip, we might go to leveraging listings next because jumpstart your social media. We'll see if we don't get that till next week. That's fine. Anyway, what I'm saying is like you can make anything a specialized lead source that you choose if you really wanted to. Like I said, if it was just as the most general, if we start the most general, it's buyer and seller. Well, if I was going to choose one to specialize in, I'm going to specialize in seller. I do know agents that historically they will tell you, no, I'm a buyer's agent. And that's all I am. That's what I specialize in. We used to do that on one of my previous teams because it was a really good thing for our team. Like we actually, instead of calling ourselves buyer's agent and listing agents, we had certain members of our team, their title was buyer's specialist and listing specialist. Because
for me, I feel like it's so important to work both sides because to be able to relate to your sellers, you need to know what buyers are looking for. And to work with buyers, like you need to know what sellers are looking for. So that's just I don't know. I never want to specialize in one or the other.
Oh, I agree with you. I would never rule out either one. Quite frankly, if I was going to focus more on the other than the fact I would prefer to work just listings. But if it's a buyer's market, which when I started my career, we were a buyer's market. I loved working with buyers because I knew
you can make them happy.
It didn't take me 2 to 3 showings, but the problem is now it's about the same. Whether in a buyer's market, I probably averaged about 10 showings to find the house that we would finally offer and get a deal on, right? Well, shit, I have that now with some buyers because I show them 2 or 3, we write an offer, get rejected. Show them another 2 or 3, write an offer, get rejected. You do that 2 or 3 times, you're at 10 to 12 showings anyway. So it doesn't really matter, right? But if I was going to specialize between that specifically, I'm going to go all in on whatever market it is. And if it shifts back to a buyer's market in 5 years and I'm still directly selling real estate and not just management, you're damn right. I'm gonna start heavy after trying to go after buyer leads again. I don't even try for buyer leads now. Our Facebook advertising and our website advertising naturally draws them, but anything that we either pay for or sign up for, like a Clever, Home Light, or I get sold.com listing leads now. I don't pay for any of those, but I pay referral fees on all those, which is fine. But I don't pay, or Clever, I also get buyer leads, but that's just my preference is the listing ones, of course, and that's what I mostly get. But I'm not paying Zillow, Realty.com, and I don't see a benefit in it, at least till it's back to a buyer's market, in my opinion. Now, if we grow the team bigger and we have some agents that need just any business, we would pick it up, but not for me. I wouldn't take a single one of those leads.
So I will say I do have a Zillow account. And it's weird. I got this zip code totally by accident, but it happens to be like super high-end properties. Like I have a guy flying in from New York in 2 weeks to look at a $3.5 million oceanfront property, and he literally is a Zillow lead. He's flown here twice. He's looked at 2 other properties over the last year. His company's now transferring to California. So he's like, okay, I'm coming up again. And get this, he wants a house and he wants one for his son too.
How much are you paying for your Zillow zip code?
Okay, so when I started it, I was spending about $600 a month. So I figured that was like, what, $6,000 a year, give or take. And at the same time, I could still write that off on my taxes. So it's costing me out of pocket like $2,500 a year, which is, to me, that's less than I would pay for one referral fee. So the numbers work for me. I've actually backed it down. Now I have a really small amount. I think I'm only spending like $100 a month there because I'm pouring more into Google My Business, just because that's that's more local. And I feel like I was kind of getting to a point where like some of the leads I was getting were so big and so far out there, like I wasn't closing those deals because they weren't super serious people.
Yeah.
I think they were.
Yeah.
I think there is an amount of looky-loos that you get, but I'm working with 2 or 3 really great clients that were Zillow leads. So I think if you can just have the expectation that like you're going to spend and just look at it as a business expense and do not make an emotional decision where you feel like, oh God, I'm just blowing $600 a month, and think, okay, so I'm spending $6,000 a year. This is my marketing and advertising. I'm writing off X amount of dollars on my taxes. Like, let's face it, we all need tax write-offs. There's not a huge amount of tax deductions. So out of pocket, it really is costing me less than $3,000 a year.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's okay.
Wow, that's awesome. That's not bad. Your guys' zip code is a little more expensive than ours. I mean, your price.
Little River is super weird. It's like there's listings in this random like old folks trailer park and multi-million-dollar oceanfront properties, and not a lot in between.
Yeah. I will say though, that is unique though to get that size, even for your market, which I said your average price point's higher than ours, but it's very weird when you get into the higher price points to have a lead come through Zillow. It happens. I mean, I've had in our market, this would totally be considered luxury. I've had a $700,000 lead come through Zillow. Normally it's the stuff that's more around your average plus or minus. But
yeah, I mean, I closed a 1.45 from a Zillow lead.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's that normal for your market or is that more higher for your market. I mean, I know Valerie's
say it's a little higher. So
okay.
I would say that crosses over into high end, maybe not super luxury, but definitely high end.
Got it. Okay. So because I know Valerie, your price point's still around what, 900,000 is about your average price point, medium price point.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that my average sale this year has gone down because I've been selling a lot of like starter homes, but
Sure.
yeah, it's probably between 600 and 800 is like our
That's your
average
median or whatever. And Sarah, what is your market similar then?
Probably pretty close. It's very definitely similar.
Okay.
I mean, my last house I closed was like a little manufactured home for first-time home buyers.
Yeah, so
it was cute.
It was really cute. And you know what? Those people, like, so I feel like although some people didn't want to work with them because they were a little bit hard to work with, you know, like needed constant texting, like you need to DocuSign this, you need to look at your emails, you need to go to the bank today, you need to get the statement, you know, they needed a lot of that. He actually quit his job right before we got into escrow, even though I specifically was like, no financial changes. He's like, well, I quit my job, but I'm making the same amount of money. That's fine, right? I'm like,
maybe.
And because he quit his job, now he either needs to completely liquidate his 401k, which is his down payment money, because he can no longer take out a partial chunk of it. So I'm like, shit, okay. So I call Edward Jones. I'm like, hey, I have this problem. Can you take care of it? Thank God my husband coaches their kid on the football team. So they were super into helping me. Like I literally begged. They were so amazing to work with. They got this 401k liquidated, opening up new IRA accounts in Edward Jones. They wired the money directly to escrow for me. I mean, they were just fabulous, but I don't think a lot of people would have had the wherewithal to get them through that because it was a little bit tough, but we did it.
Nice. So to kind of wrap up that comment, I would consider, based on kind of what you guys are explaining to me, and the way I think about how Zillow leads come through, Realtor.com leads, I'd say probably anything that's up to maybe 2 times your average market area is probably what I would say is fairly normal for Zillow. You get above that, especially once you get in your luxury, very rare to get there. So, but
and I feel like for me, so many people who are buying luxury are not local people, and I think that's why you get leads here. Is I think when they're local people, especially selling, like they're going to go to a brokerage where they know someone or something like that. And if they're buying here, they don't necessarily have any connection with anyone.
Well, you could, but it's very common though for the upper price points, but those individuals, those types of net worths, they don't just go on Zillow. They just call their agent first of all and say, "Find me a house. This is what I want." They're not going to do the work because those are the types of higher net income people are usually successful. One of the reasons they're successful is they're very good at delegation, and they understand, like, all the way back down to when Vince and I decided to, one of the main reasons we started to hire an agent, this is what I talk to agents about all the time, is when's a good time to hire an assistant? Well, anytime that you can fit it into your budget, because if you train your assistant well and you have them doing the right tasks. So first exercise I usually tell agents is start logging what you do and start identifying what's a $20 an hour task and what's a $100, $200, $300 an hour task. The stuff that's, the $20 task, that's the stuff that ultimately you need to hire an assistant to do for you. Assistant, transaction coordinator, some type of support person, right? So that's why typically those higher net people, because that's how they live their lives. Like they're not gonna do the searching themselves on Zillow. They're gonna call an agent. They're gonna find an agent in the market they're looking to buy in, and say, "This is what I want. Find it for me."
Well,
Okay.
see, I feel like I was that first call, and then now I am that agent. So like he called me about one property, and now here we are. I've been nurturing that lead for a year, and now he's like ready. I've been sending him stuff and checking in with him every once in a while, and becoming that agent.
It's kind of like, so tying that into the specialized market stuff, or this being specialized in a lead source. No matter what lead source, buyer, seller, something with VAs, you can become a specialist in FISBOs, you can become a specialist in expireds. Whatever you decide to be a specialist in, kind of relating back to that, what was talked a lot about on the fast forward call today was like the experience, right? Like if I'm going to be a specialist if I'm going to become a buyer specialist, we talked a lot about the listing stuff today. We can talk a little bit about that more on our next topic. I want to be a buyer specialist. Like what I do right now for buyers, I'm definitely not a buyer specialist. Okay, tell me, we do your buyer consult. That's nice. But then what do? I set up a search and I primarily let them look on their own search and tell me what they want to see. I'm probably once or twice a week going through, unless I have a hot buyer. But a buyer specialist, all their buyers, they're checking MLS every day, not two days a week, not 1 day a week, every single day. And they're sending some sort of communication with their buyers saying, "Just want to let you know, I checked on properties that I don't see anything," or however often, right? That's just one of the things to be specialized a buyer. Again, kind of back to the VA thing. I'm going to know VA loans, first of all, almost inside out as much as the loan officer does, so I can speak intelligently to the process and all the uniquenesses that come with that. And I'm going to stay up on that. Like I'm going to be constantly like, to whatever loan officer I work with the most, hey, whenever changes come down the pipe on VA, you got to let me know. Like I want to know what's always changing. That would make me a specialist in that, right? So there are Zillow Premier agents. They become really good and specialized in one, how to capture Zillow leads, how to nurture them, how to follow up with them. Then, that after that, I don't know, there's much being specialized in Zillow leads. So you can really probably become a specialist in any lead source you want. Becoming specialized just means your experience you're going to create for that lead source, aka that client, should be just like way far above than me, who doesn't specialize in that one lead source. So
Yeah.
if you look at the question that way, like I can think of probably two lead sources, 2 to 3 lead sources I'm probably a specialist in.
And what are those?
Sellers overall, because I think I have a really rock solid and really good listing process and try to really focus on the experience. And then I'd say I'm going to combine these two. They could be considered two: expired and FSBOs, because I know how to approach them without, pissing them off. First of all, I turn them off. Like, I get very few hangups when I do those calls because of my initial line of questioning, I think is a big key. And I understand how to uncover in my communications their pain points, if there are any on the physical sides. There's usually some type of pain point in the expired side. Just don't know. It could just be a couple different things. And I would say more my sphere than my past clients. There's some things after the sale that I got to get better on in past client to consider myself a specialist in that lead source. And where I would say I fail is I don't get enough referrals, I don't think, for my past clients that I should. And that's because we're missing, I say we, because it's something that I would incorporate the team. I think we're missing a few important follow-up things with our past clients.
So here's a funny lead source that you guys would never imagine. Make friends with your postal carriers. So I have this lady who's a personal friend, and she actually had a real estate license years ago, and she's done a few like house fixer uppers. She told me about a property, and your mail carriers, they drive everywhere. They drive all over the place, and so they see all these houses. Any vacant house, like, they see it. We went around town and did a field trip, and we saw about 5 houses that looked like they were abandoned or semi-abandoned. So on my to-do list for this week is to pull all the information and send those 5 properties letters. So like, make friends with your mail person and just be like, hey, I have buyers looking for WXYZ. Like, if you see anything that looks like maybe it's not in, like, or vacation houses that nobody's using, or, anything that's like for your investors, if you see anything that looks like it's falling down, like it's abandoned. So I have about like 6 houses to go check out, which I'm pretty stoked on.
Pretty good. Yeah, that's awesome. Like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So any other specialized things you guys want to throw out there or talk about? Otherwise, we can move on. Going once, going twice. Sold. Okay. All right. Leveraging one listing to get more. So I'll tell the story because we can start there because I said I would. So one of the things I brought up to fast forward was that I found is if you elevate your process on the listing side, it enables you to. I found that there were some steps there that I could do regarding expectations with the seller to get FSBOs, as well as just the specific listing you're working on. Because one thing, like, sellers, what's one reason why sellers right now in this type of market is going for sale by owner? I know some markets don't have issues with that, but ours does. Is they think what's going to sell quick, right?
We had that a lot back in 21, 22, early 22.
Okay.
We're not seeing that as much now.
Yeah,
really. It's faded off here a little bit, but it's still there. And I think with inventories coming back down for the summer, I think we're going to see a good number for sale by owners again. Well, one of the things I've asked a few for sale by owners, and I came about this because of a bad situation, but now I think I've just improved the process from something that happened last week. But I would ask sellers, like, one of the things that you would ask sellers on FSBOs is, what's your plan to handle multiple offers? And of course, their normal answer was basically is, well, we'll just review and pick the best one. Okay, but do you have a plan for when, if you get half dozen, you could have like 2 or 3 that are like basically equal. Like, do you have a plan to differentiate with those? Because then if you pick the wrong one and then your house goes back to market because that deal falls through, you're not probably going to get your same number. You might, but the chances are lower. So that was a process. Well, I've started now when I called for seven hours because something happened last week. Asking those extra steps, kind of pushing that step. And what happened was I was on the wrong side of a really badly managed multiple offer situation from listings. So last week, new listing comes on. This is, by the way, it's a $500,000 price point. So this is a couple $100,000 above our average price point. Property's listed for 500. I kind of knew it was probably, depending on when we got there, 500 might be low on the property. So we get there. Of course, my buyers like it. I said, yeah, this is probably going to go multiples. And I said, I think 500's, I think it's going to go for more than 500. I'm like, I don't know how much more. I said, I could see it maybe 30, 40,000, maybe not that high though. I said, I don't know if it's going to go crazy. I said, because it's close, but I said, I think it's a 525 house for sure. It might be higher. So called the agent, got a voicemail while we were still at the property. She calls me back, said, hey, we're going to go ahead and come in $5,000 over ask. I told her all their first and foremost, I told her all this other stuff. Of course, asked how many offers. She's like, well, I'm expecting 4. I have none in hand yet. I said, well, we're going to come in at 505. I said, we're wanting to negotiate this. If we need to go higher, I'm just telling you right now, there's room. We just want to stay in the game. So let us know how you're handling negotiations. Are you going to multiple counter everybody? Are you going to ask for highest and best sold? I'm like, if I told you that, would that be pretty understanding that we're ready to come up above our 505? Would you guys be clear on that? Okay. By the time I sent the offer over, she did have one in hand already. Was still expecting a couple more. So in my email, I said, again, here's our offer, summarized it. So they already got a call on their lender. They're going to get a new pre-approval for higher. So we'll be able to go above the 505 even. I said, let me know how you're going to handle negotiations. So that's 2 times I've now communicated verbally and once in writing. And then 3 minutes later, I text her and said, offers in your inbox again. Please let me know how you're going to handle negotiations. 3 times I've told her, essentially, let us know. Like that's pretty good, right? Okay. Didn't hear anything the next morning. About 11 o'clock, I text her and said, because she said, give us 24 hours on response. Great. So I said, hey, let me know how you're going to handle negotiations. I said, are we going multiple counters? She sent me a weird response back, and the end of it said we expected an offer this morning. Another one or what? And then I saw that the listing went pending. I'm like, well, I've seen agents because they had what offers they were going to work with go ahead and mark it pending so they wouldn't get any more. And sellers can decide that. So I called her, she didn't answer. And I texted her, I said, can you call me? Because I'm a little bit confused about what's going on. She called me and I said, I'm a little confused. Like, I asked you 3 different ways. Oh, well, she starts the conversation. She's like, yeah, we accepted an offer this morning. I told you that. I'm like, I've heard nothing from you since last night. And I said, I told you 3 different ways, verbally and in writing in 2 different ways to let me know. Like, you were fully aware that we had expectations to come up. She immediately gets defensive and starts saying, well, one was just really, really high. One was really just above the other ones. So my buyers just didn't want to feel like, making them angry and just wanted to accept that. I said, you have no clue where we're going to come to. I said, neither do your buyers. She immediately starts going to don't tell me how to do my job. Well, soon, by the way, anytime an agent starts saying, don't tell me how to do my job, they're backpedaling. And I said, I'm not telling you how to do your job. I'm saying I made it clear 3 different ways that we were willing to come up. You have no clue how high we were willing to go, what terms we were willing to keep in or drop as far as our contingencies. If you went to multiple comment or best, which I asked for, you would tell me what you're going to do. And I said, that's a really injustice to your seller. So again, she tells me, don't tell me how to do my job. I've been doing this for 7 years, blah, 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 blah. Finally, so at that point, I'm pissed off. So I don't really care if I made her mad. I said, well, I'm not telling you how to do your job, but maybe I should have. That really pissed her off because then I did basically tell her how to do her job. And she says, well, I texted you this morning. That's what's right. I said,
in the beginning, she had no like response, like we're going to take the best offer that comes in, or like no, nothing.
No, she claims that she texted me this morning saying that they had a really good offer. I think this is what she was trying to get at. She claims she texted me this morning communicating what they were about to do. I didn't get a text. I said, I have your string of text up here. Before I text you at 11:30, whatever this morning, the last communication via text I have from you is me texting you last night at 8:30 telling you I sent the offer. She's like, well, I know it's there. I'll send you a screenshot. I said, send me the screenshot because my clients want me to file a complaint against you. Well, that's fine. I'll talk to the board. I was like, I did nothing wrong. My sellers can accept an offer at any time. I said, your sellers can't accept an offer at any time. And I said, I don't know if it's in fair housing. I don't know if it's in ethics. Well, they said, but yep. I'm like, you didn't communicate and you were asked by me alone 3 different times to let me know how you're going to proceed so that we can make an adjustment. I said, you still have no fucking clue what we were going to offer. I think I hung up the phone. I said, I hope your fucking buyer went to 600 because we were going to. And I hung up the phone. But she's like, yeah, go ahead and file a complaint. I'd love to talk to the board. Okay, great. I'm going to file a complaint. And I said, make sure you send me that screenshot because the screenshot doesn't exist. I had the text chain. My iPhone saves it. If she claims to text me, it wasn't my number.
That sucks. You know, I wrote an offer on a property that was similar. I felt like my buyers wrote a really good offer, and I'm pretty sure that the listing agent also conveniently wrote an offer, 3 hours before the deadline, and my people didn't get it. And I don't know.
Well, Vince has one of those too, and so he's asked a few times now, and he found out because through somebody knowing somebody, the offer he wrote, they accepted one $3,000 less than his. And by the way, his was very clean. Like I think it was cash even, Vince's. And like very clean offer. So you're gonna take $3,000 less. Vince has asked the agent twice now, not just for all the requirement is you send back the rejected page of an offer showing that dated when presented. Sellers don't have to. He asked for this one proof that she like an email or having the seller's initial that they saw this offer. He's asked them twice for it now, and she's not gotten it to him.
See, I feel like that is worth filing a complaint over.
Yeah, I think that one. He's like, yeah, maybe I should. He's like, maybe I should pursue that one. He said, I'm mad because if she just would have said, this agent, if she just would have said, oh, hey, Brad, I text you. Maybe I texted the number. I am super sorry. Man, we feel really bad. Like my buyers even said, I talked to my buyer then this morning and the wife's, she's fucking heated. Like she wanted this house. Because they're the ones that are pushing me to file a complaint. He was like, yeah, we could understand. Like people make mistakes. We would have been still like very disappointed because we really wanted the house. But at least if she just would have said, hey, I made a mistake. I messed up. She didn't do that. She stood firm. I texted her again this morning and said, hey, I'm still waiting for that screenshot. I'm going to need that.
I don't know. I feel like one of the things that has helped me is that it's not that I have a thick skin, it's that it really takes a lot to bother me. It's not that I can push down my botheredness. It's that like it really takes a lot to bother me. And I feel like that has been incredibly helpful. I have another friend she's incredibly successful, with her own business. She doesn't technically have her own business, but she's kind of an independent contractor, and she's very detailed, and she's very organized, and she's very thoughtful, but she also is very easily upset by other people. and I had a conversation with her and I said, you know, it's because you're very thoughtful. And like some of the things that you notice, like I just wouldn't ever notice them. I don't know. I feel like it helps my sanity in this business because it can be pretty brutal.
Yeah,
You just have
yeah,
to be
it
really
does.
even keeled, I think. If if you were to let every problem and every situation bother you, you'd go insane.
Yeah, and I tell now people, you know, I have an offer out and we went like $45,000 over asking price. They were a little bit lower at first, and I said, okay, so like let's write this offer, and if you don't get it at this price and you're going to be happy to walk away at that point, like that's your best offer. So, you
Hmm.
know, and they came back and they wanted to write, I think like 20,000 more. And I was like, okay, so if you will be happy to walk away if you don't get it at this price point, I think that was your best offer and I can make you happy. But I feel like it took me a little while to kind of learn how to communicate those things.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
and you,
and also I tell people, you know, and this I got from actually my coworker, and she's a huge Brian Buffini person. Instead of, you know, I feel like people always ask me, oh, what should I offer? And like, I know it's, if it's a multiple offer situation, it's going to go for asking price. I usually have a gut feeling of what it's going to go for and what it's going to take. But instead of telling people like to kind of like trust my intuition, what I tell people now is like when you are in a multiple offer situation, statistically, that home is going to sell for 1 to 3% above its list price for every offer that you get. And that way it kind of takes it out of my opinion. And I'm looking at hard, cold, fast
yeah,
and statistics. And I feel like people, when I say, okay, so they have 5 offers on this house and they're like, well, where should we go? What should we offer? And I'm like, okay, so statistically for every offer, you're going to go 1 to 3% above list price. And I feel like that really, really helps them understand that like this is not an emotional choice. They
yeah,
need to crunch those numbers. And if it's worth it, they know what they need to write. And if it goes beyond that, they need to know where they're happy to walk away.
yeah. Yes, and then I like that with the statistical point of view, and
Yeah.
that's kind of to flip this back around to the listing side. Like, so sometimes it's those bad situations on how other agents handle things on the opposite side teaches you when you're on that side then how to handle it. And I've always done a good job. Like I mean, I had one with 12 offers in the last few months, and like it literally that evening that we're going through offers, more were coming in. And I just kept texting every agent and saying, texting or sending the mass notifications out through showing time. Here's what we're doing. Like originally it was like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and counter. Then I sent a notice out, said, hey, we've now gotten so many, we're just going highest and best tonight. Let us know what your highest and best is by. And I just said finally said 9 o'clock. And but I had all that documentation, and I must have done a good job because no agent got mad at me. Even one that she never responded that night, that her client was in the running, and I was trying to get a hold of her to say, hey, did they want to come up? And I got a hold of her next time. I said, hey, I tried to contact you a few times last night. I was just trying to see if you're a buyer. And she's like, well, where would we need to go? And I told her, and she's like, oh, she's like, that's okay. She's like, I appreciate it. She's like, I know you were trying to get a hold of me. She's like, it was this. And she's like, he wouldn't have gone there. I said, okay, good. I feel better then. But I like, because my approach was I felt bad that I couldn't get a hold of her, even though it would have been nothing wrong with that. In that case, when saying like, well, I did what my client wanted me to do is a total justification. Hers is not. She started right away using an excuse. Like, I'll bet you money her seller has her seller has no clue where my buyer was willing to go. She can't.
I
And
feel like even she could have said, hey, you know, we have 6 offers. Like, if your client wants to rewrite, here's the opportunity. I've been offered that before, and I appreciate just at least getting the offer. You know, just even if I don't get a counter offer, to say, hey, like if that's not your client's highest and best, like, and you want to rewrite, go ahead and rewrite if you
right.
want to.
And I
And
have a
then at
feeling,
least put the ball in my court.
yeah, and I have a feeling she think she sent this text that she claimed to have sent. Maybe she did, but it didn't send. And it certainly didn't get received because I have proof. Neither one of us changed phone numbers for we were texting. iPhone leaves a chain, and I never delete my texts. It would be there between texts as received. She didn't send it, or if she sent it the wrong number, or didn't hit send.
You just have to hope that this happened for a reason, because like their next perfect house that they're gonna like 48% more than this one is coming, and you're gonna be the hero. There's my advice. That's all I can give you.
Yeah, I got buyers that are like that, and they're not really taking it like that way. And yes, maybe we actually had an offer in another house. We actually rescinded the offer to the offer in this one because the other one we're negotiating with the sellers got this one listed for 525. This one's not a $500,000 house. We wrote a highest that we were willing to go at 485, and we'd still buy it at 485. Sellers counted us from 525 down to 517. Their second counter they sent us, they stayed at 517. And I just said, like, here's 45. That's as high as we're gonna go. If your sellers think they have a $500,000 house, best of luck to you. But it's not my client that's buying it. And they've been on the market for about 45 days now.
That's wild. Yeah.
I'm sorry, at 45 days. If you were gonna get anywhere near 525, you would have got it already.
I have the exact same situation going on right now.
So how do you take those situations then and make sure that on the listing side, you want to get it helps you with that current listing, but then to our bullet point topic is how do you turn that into further listings? I took those experiences and I basically have now put additional questions and process instructions into our listing process. Like I've said there's possibilities, but I've never explained to a potential listing or listing about an actual plan if we get multiple offers. I've said, okay, if we get multiple offers, we'll review them, but actually then like going into detail, okay, if we get multiple offers, do you want to try and multiple counter them all? Here's the pluses and minuses then. Here's how that works. Do you want to just save yourself a lot of time, agony, and me paperwork and just request a highest in date? Initially from the start when we list it, do you want to, in case we have multiple offers or if we think we're going to get multiple offers, start showings on a Thursday, just state right away, we'll review all offers on Monday and accept on by Tuesday or whatever.
I feel like I have those conversations with people if I feel like we're listing under market value. We have those conversations.
I would go higher. I would put it in your processes, like written down.
Yeah.
That either written down or some of that stuff, like it'd be stuff you would explain verbally. You got to remember everything in writing that you leave in. I'm talking about a listing that you're competing for. If you can at least verbalize that during your listing presentation or not, or versus you don't, what is going to, like, well, there's 3 of us in this call. 2 weeks ago, I got a listing that was scheduled and I was mad about getting this listing scheduled. Do you know why I was mad? They met with agent 1 on Tuesday, agent 2 on Wednesday. And I was scheduled to be agent 3 of 3 on Thursday. I don't like going last because I know that if I go first, I'm going to do what one of the other 2 agents did to me and didn't let them get to me. Because I got Thursday morning when I confirmed the listing for that evening, my response says, we picked one of the other 2 agents. I didn't even get a chance.
Yeah.
And I was mad at? I wasn't mad that I didn't get a chance. I was mad I was third because I knew it. I didn't like it. I talked to the guy on that Monday and it sucked because I was mad. I'm like, I tried to get first. I'm like, well, can I come in tomorrow as well? Like I wanted to be the same day. I tried to get first because I know if I'm there first and you have all these scenarios as part of your verbal and written presentation and you wow them, why even go to the other one? And the other agent, one of the other agents, one of the two, did exactly what I would have done. Tried to impress them, try and build rapport, and then what? Try and close the listing right there. And one of them did exactly what I would try to do. And congratulations to him.
I feel like I to get smarter, and now I ask him like, so are you interviewing multiple people for this? Because sometimes I just think that I'm the only person that he would ever call, and it's not true. Reality check.
Well, and like I said, I knew I wasn't. He told me. He's like, yeah, we're meeting with another agent on Tuesday. We're going to meet with another one on Wednesday, and you'll be Thursday. I didn't even hesitate. I said, hey, is there any way I can get a Tuesday? Well, we're only going to meet with one agent per day. He's like, yeah, so you're Thursday. I'm like, I had a bad feeling right then. I was like, damn it, this is not going to go well. I was praying I would get a chance because I knew it.
Yeah, I feel like I love that podcast about objection handling. I feel like I do know my market super well. I have not taken any listings that have not sold. There are a few people who have. I interviewed for 2 listings. I gave them realistic price points. I did not get the listings. One of them has been listed twice now. It still hasn't sold. The other one, they listed with somebody else. And I told the guy, I'm like, I could get you $350 for that tomorrow. We could list for 400, and maybe 6 months we might have to do a price reduction, and probably 450 is peak. He listed it with somebody who listed it for 550. It's out on the market. He was desperate, like freaking out. We wrote this offer. He wanted to take it. His agent was like, no, I can get you more. Didn't happen. Now he's like panicking. He's like calling this client. Somebody tracked his number down at home. And like my broker actually ended up selling it. Mainly it was because of my connection, which I'm still happy. Like, that's great. But I'm just like, I should have had that listing. Damn it.
I'll make one comment, and I know you got something to say, Valerie. Just to wrap it up. Where I did screw up though, my one mistake, and I just was hesitant to say it, and I'll never hesitate again. So I asked to move up, right? I should have just flat out told him, listen, I'm gonna tell you why I want to move up to Tuesday versus Thursday, is if either of these agents do exactly what I would do, is they're gonna do one of them's gonna do a really good job, and you're not even gonna meet with me. So since you won't move me up, I'm just going to urge you, no matter how much you like these other agents, I want a chance. Can you commit to that to me?
That's what I was going to say is, what if you had said to him, like, at least keep your appointment with me, give me a chance to show you the ways that I'm going to bring you value and help you, blah, blah, blah.
And when I got off the phone, I almost called him back because I thought about it then. And then when I got the text, of course, Thursday morning, I'm like, shit. There was my mistake. And
yeah.
I should have.
But it's a good learning opportunity.
Well, I should have went with my gut. And the reason I didn't call him back was I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be that crazy pushy. Like, I don't want to come across as the pushy agent, but I could have just, with my tone, I think his name was Rick or something. Hey, Rick. Hate to call you back on this, but something's bothered me. I just want to tell you, like, just if I would just soften my tone, just said, here's my concern and here's why I tried to move up. Here's my concern. And it would have been a positive speak to the other agents, right? Like, one of these agents is going to come in, they're going to super impress you. And that's great. And they're probably a good agent, but that doesn't mean they're better than me. So no matter how much the agent impresses you, I really want a chance because I want to get a chance to win your business because it's really important to me. Or please get me to Thursday,
Or frame it in a way that's instead of like saying one of these agents is really going to impress you, so give me a chance. I would even say, like, frame it in a way that it serves them. So you might be tempted to go with one of the first agents you meet with, but it's really in your best interest to interview everybody to make sure that you're seeing all of your options and understand all the, all the skills and all the talents that are going to be offered to you, and make sure you make the best choice.
That's a really good one. I heard
your word, your
another
word is
one that
better.
was like in the objection handlers, and it was something along the lines of like, you know, you're gonna meet this with these two agents, but like, do me a favor, don't pass me up. Like, give me that shot. Do me a favor, like at least give me the chance to interview, or like the do me a favor kind of thing was like, you're kind of building a little bit of rapport and just be like, you know, I don't know.
No, I like both those versions because you're kind of complimenting the potential of another agent wowing them, but you could still be missing out because the best one could be last. Kind of, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing. Essentially, that's what we're all saying.
Yeah.
Great. Sorry
Tyler's
guys,
wording.
I probably gotta go. We've
All
hit
right.
12 o'clock and I got phone calls to take.
Yeah,
But
no,
thank-
we're a couple minutes over. Sarah, let's touch base. I did text my sponsor. I think she'd be a good word first for me to talk to. Maybe if you need it as a prep to talk to Nick, and I don't know what order you want to do this. It's probably a little strategy to this
Okay.
whole thing as far as what's the appropriate timetable to have those conversations. So
Yeah, I feel like I need to have some of the I'll call him back. I just texted him in 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. Yeah, I feel like do you know his name's Gary? Gary something. Let me look it up. G-A-R-Y. Gary Jordan. So I somehow got in contact with him via Facebook. And he's, I think, has an EXP team. I did a little quick Zoom meeting. I'm kind of in the what's it called? The research phase. I would much prefer for this transition, I think, to happen for you guys. He just was a little bit too salesy for me. I don't know, like everything he said was great. It just was a little too, I don't know, too much for me. I don't like that.
I'll be honest with you, this you may or may not find this out in the future. Because EXP has the revenue share and it's based on creating a downline and recruiting, EXP gets it's misinformed, but and some agents go about it in a way extreme pushy way. EXP's gotten a rap for being a recruiting brokerage. Every brokerage is a recruiting brokerage. Just very few will pay you to do it. Right?
Yeah.
How many calls a week how many emails, text calls do you get a month from other brokerages? Keller Williams particularly.
I mean, honestly, not a ton, because I feel like people just don't even know our little brokerage exists here. But I have been solicited by other ones, definitely. And even my brokerage is being solicited by Lux Places, which is a pretty exclusively California brokerage. And I just, my broker's trying to encourage me to get my broker's license and be the broker. But I mean, I've only been doing this for 3 years. Like, I feel like I need more support than that. And I don't know, once you go to EXP, do they own you? I don't know. There's a lot of questions. I feel like we would like to keep our little office and our team. And I feel like we could also be making potentially more money as
but you do get recruited. That's what I'm saying. Like, Valerie, how many times a month do you get some sort of recruiting email from brokerages?
Yeah, it happens, definitely.
Yeah.
I can't recruit you, Valerie, because there's a strict law against Tom Ferry coaches recruiting their clients. So,
Well, I will probably be with HomeSmart till the day I retire. So
you got a pretty good deal with HomeSmart, I'll tell you that.
HomeSmart's pretty amazing because we have the brick and mortar and the 100% commission. So we have it all.
Yeah, I'd like to learn a little bit about HomeSmart because I don't know how you do. I mean, you guys are basically, you have 100% commission and you just pay some fees basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're very low. So I'm curious how HomeSmart makes money. Like, I mean, that's the challenge with quote unquote the old school brokerages that don't have caps, that the best they do might be a 75-25 split, maybe an 80-20, but a lot of them are still 70-30, 65-35, like that type of brokerage without finding a way to generate revenue with overhead, like you said, like having a brick and mortar office. And we have brick and mortar offices. They're usually it's a team leader
Right.
that opens them. Which is fine. Like we had one, we closed ours temporarily, just not because we don't want an office. I just don't want to rent. I want to buy a building.
Mhm.
We're just going about it a different way. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to lease space. Well, I want to lease, but I want to lease from our
Exactly.
corporation, right? So it's our rent's paid for. But yeah, I'm kind of curious because what
a lot of the HomeSmart brokerages do, what we do is we have auxiliary businesses. So we have an escrow company, an NHD company, and we're starting up a mortgage brokerage.
Yep. That's actually, that makes total sense because the mortgage brokerages can be very profitable.
I'm an owner in it,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
we'll get paid dividends. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited.
The title companies obviously can be profitable.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's other businesses that, a lot
Yeah,
of these.
and we have our TC, like our TCs are a profit center for us. So all of those ways, and it's ways that we support our agents, but then we
Yep.
tell them, like, when you use these services, you're getting, elevated customer service, but then all that money that we generate helps us provide you with this full service brokerage
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, like we just bought into a title company, like literally Vincent and I did.
Mm-hmm.
There's a title company that started basically selling chairs.
I feel like we need to make this I don't know, subject. A topic. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's
I
challenging.
do have to be careful because I have a few clients that are, in this meeting. So Vince has to lead that conversation when we talk about that too much. I'm already flirting with my guidelines here today, just even having the conversation. But I'm not recruiting Valerie, so she's.
But she sounds like she's got a good thing going there too.
She has a good HomeSmart situation, and HomeSmart, now that she says that, does make sense, but because it's not the brokerage that's making the money.
Yeah.
If you are only caught charging fees, you have to have revenue coming in from other places, and HomeSmart has several, which helps.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the smaller brokerages, kind of like you're working at now, Sarah. I know it. I got several of my buddies that broke out, and they have these little small brokerages, like 8 to 15 agents. They still have to produce, like themselves, whereas like our brokers don't produce.
Well, and that's kind of how I'm trying to figure out, like, how can I make this work so that it's a positive for my broker? Because we do have a brick and mortar office. Like, I'm at the office right now. And he's resourceful. Like, we have a couple little office suites that he rents out to other people. But, I'm just trying to figure out, like, how would this really make it look appealing to him as well? Because my goal is not to come in here and F up his whole team,
And that's why I want you to talk to Candace next, because she'll know and better than I do. Like if it was a whole brokerage moving over, there's still would have to be some office fees to agents because you still got to cover that overhead.
Yeah.
But then there's also that immediate revenue share, and there's a strategy on how you want to do that too. So why don't we talk maybe later this week, Thursday or Friday? I give you a call. And then we could talk more, and then we'll set up something with Candace early next week or something.
Sounds good. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Have a good week.
Valerie, I have you tomorrow.
Yep, tomorrow.
Yep. Oh, yep. There you are. See you tomorrow then.
Okay, sounds good. Bye.
Goodbye.